friends, once again welcome back to Active Education Pro. Welcome to the next series on chapter integer from class 6 NCERT mathematics. In my last video already we have studied about calculation of integers, means how to add an integer with another integers, sign rules. And now in this video I am going to do calculation of integers. This video is for subtraction of integers, how to subtract integers from an integer and what is the sign rules for subtraction. Okay, and please watch the video, entire video. Okay, don't skip the video so that you will thoroughly clear about the sign rule of subtraction of integers, how to subtract integer with an from an integers. Means there are variety type of sign rules when you are going to subtract a positive integer from a positive integer, a negative from a negative integer, and otherwise a positive from a negative or negative from a positive integers. So let's start calculation of integers with sign rules. Means here in this video I am going to subtract integers. So as you know, subtract integers, positive integers, 5 minus 2, which is equal to 3. In this example, 5 is a larger integer, means 5 is greater than 2. 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. 5 is greater than 2. Here, both are, this is the sign of subtraction. Now, I am subtract these two integers, these two positive integers. 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. 5 greater than 2. And another one rule, at the time of subtraction, you have to follow, you have to consider the sign of the number which is to be subtract. In this example, this 2 is to subtract from 5. This 2 is to subtract from 5. So you have to consider the sign of 2. Now questions for us to subtract 2 from 5. Subtract 2 from 5 means 5 minus 2. This minus sign is only for subtract, this word. Subtract 2 from 5. So 5 is fast, right to fast at, then minus for subtract, and then 2, the another integer. 5 minus 2 is 3. So here, as you know, it is normal for us because in our lower standard we know about this subtraction rule. 5 minus 2 is equal to 3, and the number is to be subtract is always less than the number from it to be subtracted. 5 is a large number, is a greater number. 2 is to be subtracted from 5, so 2 is always less than 5. Otherwise it can possible to subtract. But at the time of integer, you can subtract 5 from 2. You can subtract 5 from 2. You can subtract 5 from 2. So as per the question, write here, at first write 2, then put sign minus, and then 5. And then your answer will be, as per the sign rule, for addition of integers as per the sign rules, calculate first C about the greater numerical value. Look here, about sign, this is 2. This is simple 2, means there is no sign before 2, means it is a positive integer. And 5, there is a negative sign before 5. So this is plus 2 and minus 5. And compared to 5, 5 is greater than 2. So sign of 5 is resulting sign 5. Then subtract this numeric. This is minus 3. Look here, when you subtract 2 from 5, then your answer is 3. When you subtract 5 from 2, your answer is minus 3. Vice versa. Here, we subtract the smaller number from the larger number, so your answer is a positive integer. When you subtract a large number from a smaller number, then your answer is negative integer. A smaller number, minus 3. In both these cases, here we subtract a positive integer from a positive integer. Whatever the numerical value it may be, here, look here. Here I subtract the smaller one from the greater one. Here I subtract the greater one from the smaller one. But both are positive integers. Subtract 2 from 5, subtract 5 from 2. Here 2, 5 both are positive integers. 5 and 2 both are positive integers. But the next case about a subtraction of negative integers from a negative integer. Suppose question is subtract minus 2 from minus 5. Subtract minus 2 from minus 5. So minus 5 minus this subtract minus, then minus 2, minus 5 minus minus 2. What will be the result? Look here, in this case this number is to subtract, which is minus 2, a negative integer. Minus 2 is a negative integer, is to subtract. So there is another minus sign before the bracket, out of the bracket. So in this case, first you have to simplify, you have to remove the bracket, because no two numbers of minus sign can be present in a mathematical expression. Look here, this is minus 5 minus minus 2. It is not possible to keep both minus. It is not possible to keep two numbers of signs at a time in an expression. So you have to simplify this expression. So minus 5, there is a minus sign out of the bracket. So you have to change the sign in this bracket. You have to change the sign, the numbers, the sign present inside the bracket. So what will be the sign? This is minus 2 sign. So it will be changed to plus 2. Minus 5 plus 2, which is equal to, look here, now it is a addition of integer. It is an addition of integers with a positive integers. You have to add a negative with a positive integers, and similarly you know the answer is minus 3, because 5 is greater than 2 if you consider the numerical value. Then sign of minus 5 is minus, so it is minus, and then subtract the numerical value. 5 minus 2 is 3, minus 3. Another example, subtract minus 5 from minus 2. Similarly write here minus 2 minus minus 5. There are two brackets, so you can't write here, sorry, is equal to minus 2 plus 5, because in this bracket there is minus 5, it contains minus sign, so it, after opening the bracket, it will become plus 5, and you know the result is 3. The result is 3. So these are 4 cases. Look here, first subtract 2 from 5, answer is 3. It is simply, you know about this subtraction, you have to subtract a smaller number, larger number, so it is a positive integer. Then I subtract a larger number from a smaller number, so answer is a negative integer, minus 3. Then subtract a negative from a negative integer, so this is, answer is minus 3. And another rule for subtraction, that if there is a minus sign before the bracket, out of the bracket, then you have to change the sign of the elements, the sign of the terms present inside the box, inside the bracket. So minus 2 will become plus 2, and then subtract the vice versa, means here minus 2 from minus 5, here I subtract minus 5 from minus 2. So minus 2 minus minus 5, minus 2 minus minus 5, now it will become minus 2 plus 5. Now it is a negative integer and it is a positive integer, and now you can apply the addition rule for integers here. Both are opposite integers, one is negative and another one is positive. According to the numerical value, you have to put the sign of the larger numerical value and then subtract the numeric, and finally your answer is 3. So this is the rule of subtraction of integers. This is the sign rule. Now subtract a negative from a positive number. Minus 2 from 5. So it will be 5 minus minus 2. Look here, there's both are negative sign. You can keep this both signs at the same time in the an expression, so it will become 5. There is a minus 2 in this bracket, and this bracket contains another minus sign out of this bracket. So you have to change this sign. It will become 2. 5 plus 2 is 7. If you subtract 5 from minus 2, then minus 2 minus 5. Look here, you have another question in your mind that there is a 5. If here this is 5 and you write like this putting another bracket, then what will be the result? If in this case you have to change its sign, yes. In this case, you also have to change its sign. There is a 5, there is simple 5 in this bracket, means it is a positive 5, positive integer of 5. And in the case of opening bracket, you have to change the inner side rule. Inner side sign you have to change, means it is minus 2 and there is a minus sign out of the bracket, so you have to change the inner side elements sign. You have to change the inner side presents element sign, so it will become minus 5. And as you know, in our above case, when you subtract a negative integer, it will become minus 5. Now look here, this is minus 2 minus 5, both are of negative integers, and you know at the time of addition, you just put the sign and add the numeric. This is minus 7. Okay. So, one more important thing about this sign rule at the time of subtraction, that you have to carefully follow, you have to carefully consider the sign of the number which is to be subtract, because at the time of subtraction always you have to change the sign of the number which is to be subtract. If it is a negative integer or positive integer, here 5 is a positive integer, so here as per the change of this rule, I write here minus 5. It is a positive integer, so at a time you can write here minus 5. Otherwise, if there are negative integers is to be subtract, then first you have to simplify and then it become a positive integer. From a negative integer to it become a negative integer, positive integer, then you can apply the addition rule, the addition sign rule for integers at the time of subtraction. Subtraction of integer is a special type of addition, just you have to change the sign first, then it is as well as addition of integers. So these are the rule of subtraction of integers, and please at the time of subtraction carefully watch the sign rule. Okay, thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe my channel, like, share and comment on my video, and press the bell icon for latest update. Thank you.